Have you ever heard the saying, "The walls have ears"? Well, what if the forest had a voice? People in Lockridge Town whispered stories about the woods behind their homes. They said it was haunted, not by ghosts, not by monsters, but by a single red thread. No one had ever seen the creature behind it, and no one had ever survived hearing its voice. All the stories, however embellished, agreed on one terrifying rule. If you ever feel a red thread brush your ear, do not, under any circumstances, listen to the voice that follows. Mia never paid much attention to those stories. She was a practical girl who loved hiking alone in quiet places. For her, the forest was a refuge, a sanctuary from the stress, noise, and constant demands of people. One crisp autumn afternoon, she decided to venture deeper than she ever had before. The leaves crackled under her boots like a comforting fire, and sunlight filtered through the canopy, painting the path in shimmering gold dust. She felt completely at peace until she felt it. Something soft, barely there, grazed the side of her ear. She instinctively brushed at it, thinking it was just a stray spiderweb. But when she pulled her hand back to look, her blood ran cold. A thin, crimson string was tangled around her fingers. It was warm to the touch, almost pulsing with a faint, rhythmic beat. Mia frowned, trying to tug it off, but it wouldn't budge. It clung to her skin like it was alive, refusing to let go. And that's when she heard it. A faint whisper, seeming to come from right beside her ear. "Can you hear me now?" Mia froze. Her breath caught in her throat. Her hand trembled as she scanned her surroundings. There was no one. The entire forest had fallen eerily silent, as if it was holding its breath, watching her. She turned and started walking fast, then faster, breaking into a frantic run. But the forest felt wrong now. It was different, darker. The branches of the ancient trees seemed to bend ever so slightly toward her, their crooked fingers reaching. The leaves no longer rustled with the wind. Even the birds had gone silent. Then she felt it again. A warm breath slid across the shell of her ear. "Don't ignore me, Mia," she stumbled, her heart hammering against her ribs. The voice wasn't behind her anymore. It was inside her ear, a private, terrifying secret. Her chest tightened. "How do you know my name?" she whispered, her voice cracking. There was a pause, a heavy, suffocating silence. Then, a reply, as soft as silk, slithered into her mind. "I've been watching you walk this forest for years." Her stomach twisted into a knot of pure dread. She had been hiking here since she was 12. It was her secret place. No one should know that. No one should know her routine. She tried again to rip the red thread off, clawing at her skin, but it only dug deeper, like a tiny, sharp hook. "Let me show you something," the voice purred, a hint of amusement in its tone. "No," Mia whispered, shaking her head. "You don't get to decide," it replied. The red thread twitched, pulling taut. Mia tried to run. She had to run, but her legs moved strangely. They felt heavy, unbalanced, as if someone else were controlling them. The trees bent closer and closer, their branches intertwining to form a narrow, dark corridor of shadow. The whisper returned, this time filled with a chilling intimacy. "Do you know why no one ever sees me?" Mia shook her head violently, tears streaming down her face. "Because they looked," the voice explained. "Because they listened." The thread pulled hard. She gasped as her body was dragged sideways, off the path, into a dense cluster of trees. Branches clawed at her clothes, and loose dirt caught in her boots, trying to trip her. "Stop!" she screamed. "Let me go." The voice answered, its tone calm and final. "I can't. You heard me. Now I must finish the connection." Connection? What did it mean? Mia clawed desperately at her ear, trying to sever the thread. But then, something touched her shoulder. A hand. It was cold, light, and unervingly gentle. Mia froze completely. She didn't turn. She didn't breathe. The voice whispered directly beside her ear, a final, horrifying request. "Let me borrow your voice." In an instant, the world around Mia shifted. The forest blurred into a swirl of greens and browns, the shadows thickening until they were as dark as ink. Suddenly, she was standing in a clearing she didn't recognize. Dozens, maybe hundreds, of red threads floated through the air like pulsing veins, twisting and weaving through the trees. At the center of the clearing stood a tall, thin figure. Its face was hidden in shadow, its body wrapped entirely in the same red strings. Its fingers were impossibly long and slender. Dozens of threads connected this creature to every tree in the clearing, making it look like a grotesque puppet master fused to the very heart of the forest. Mia's knees weakened, and she felt she might collapse. The figure tilted its head, and the same whisper echoed, not just in her ear, but all around her. "You hear me. That makes you mine." "No." Mia breathed, the word barely audible. "Please." The creature's long fingers moved, and the red thread slithered across the ground like snakes, coiling toward her feet. "It is an exchange," it said calmly. "Once you hear my voice, you must give me something in return." Mia stumbled backward, tripping over a root. "What do you want?" she cried. The creature lifted one long, string-wrapped finger and pointed directly at her throat. "Your voice." A primal instinct took over. Mia bolted. She didn't look back. She didn't breathe. She didn't think. She just ran. Branches whipped at her face, and roots tore at her ankles. The forest seemed to twist around her, trying to guide her back to the clearing, but she fought on. The whisper followed her, a constant, chilling presence in her mind. "Give it to me. I only take what you heard." She pushed through a final thicket of trees and suddenly burst back onto the familiar trail. Daylight returned. A gentle wind rustled the leaves. The forest was normal again, but it was silent, too silent. Mia gasped for air, her lungs burning, and tried to scream for help. No sound came out. Her voice was gone, completely. The red thread finally slid from her ear and dropped to the ground, where it lay like a dead worm. And then, from the trees behind her, a faint whisper echoed on the wind. "Thank you." Mia survived. She moved away from Lockridge Town, far away from that forest. Doctors told her there was nothing wrong. Her vocal cords were perfectly healthy. Her throat was fine. But she still couldn't speak. Not a sound, not even a whisper. Therapists concluded it was psychological trauma, a response to a severe shock. They didn't know about the red thread. They didn't know about the voice. And they didn't know that the creature still whispered to her in her dreams. Sometimes she would wake up in a cold sweat, feeling a soft